On this episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast, we ask if all music paths lead to heavy music. We ask how we feel about re recorded albums, and we also talk about what the weirdest businesses hardcore metalheads could start. Thanks for jumping on, and let's open this pit up.
Somebody hit somebody!
What's up, everyone? Thanks for jumping on to another episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast. You got me and Trevor here today. So how you doing, man?
Good, man. Early morning, getting this one done for the weekend, and got a busy day ahead.
I feel like weekends are, I don't know, I feel like I've been more busy now that school started up than I did when, like, in the summer.
Yeah, me too. And I really hope that that dies down. Like my kids are gone, I want to take a break. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear that. So, yeah, you going to any shows or anything? Anything coming up?
So one of our buddies texted me last week, and he's hitting up Dance Gavin Dance on September 2nd. So I might go out to that one with him. And then Parkway's coming through soon. I really think I might go catch that one after talking about him again and stuff like that. I would love to go and see some old Parkway get played, and I can probably suffer through some new Parkway to get to the old Parkway.
I don't know how much old stuff they play though, right?
I think they typically will play 3 or 4 songs, and there's a couple other bands that are playing, like the Amity Affliction, who I've never seen, who I would
Okay.
probably be interested in catching as well.
That's cool.
So
That's cool.
might do that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth the money to go see them anymore, especially because I know they're not playing anything off Killing with a Smile. So
here's the whole thing that I'm thinking. Parkway's big enough now, you can get a Groupon to get a discount to see Parkway Drive. So if I can get a Groupon to go see Parkway, I might be down.
That's the oldest man thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Cruising Groupon for metal tickets, man.
Dude, I'm totally down for that.
No, I get it. So it's crazy how expensive these tickets are getting. Like, I'm going to see No Bragging Rights in a few weeks. The actual ticket was $15, but the service fees were $7 a ticket, and then you have to pay for tax on top of that. So I was still like $50+ just buying 2 tickets to No Bragging Rights.
Like I always get a little bit worried that they're going to sell out, but I might just start buying at the door because you start to eliminate some of those service fees and stuff. It's like, yeah, $3 more or something because it's day of, but it's not a $7 service fee. So
Yeah,
I might start doing that for some of the smaller shows.
I get worried about stuff selling out, which I know doesn't really happen. But you see flyers online and they're like, oh, this one's almost sold out or tickets going fast. It's like, shoot.
Right. I mean, a national tour, like we've talked about Stick to Your Guns coming through, I'm probably going to buy ahead of time for that. But like No Bragging Rights was just here. I could have just bought it at the door. Like I walked in and he was like, oh, it's going to be blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, no, I've got a ticket. He's like, oh, okay. like he's like, you're the one stupid
Who are you,
person
this fancy guy buying tickets online? Jeez.
So exactly.
Yeah.
Just kind of caught off guard.
That's funny. Well, I get to see Katy Perry this week.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen her since Warped Tour. Do you remember that? What year was that she was on Warped Tour?
I think it was 7. I think it was 2007.
It was right after I Kissed a Girl came out.
Yes.
Right? And she was not like very popular. It was really weird because, I mean, I know Warped Tour would get some of those like adjacent bands, but I felt like she was super weird to have on a tour like that.
I mean, that was a weird time. I'm pretty sure that was the year that Jeffree Star was also on there. So they did have some of that scene pop kind of stuff going on. Do you remember when Jeffree Star put out music as opposed to just makeup?
So like you're saying, you're saying the words Jeffree Star and they ringing a bell of something, but I have no idea who he is or what music he's saying.
So yeah, look up Jeffree Star if you don't know who he is, or don't. I don't care. But he was pretty big back in the day.
First thing that pops up is Jeffrey Dahmer. Are we close?
I mean, probably. But I think the rumor was like Jeffree Star and Davey Havoc at one point dated and a few things like that. So Jeffrey was pretty ingrained within the scene at one point in time. And this was the MySpace age. And he was one of the most popular MySpace figures out there. They got him to come and play. I I couldn't tell you a single song that he
I've
put
n-
out,
I have
but
no idea who this is, so
yeah, he's a huge makeup person now and
I can
extremely
see that.
successful.
Yeah,
And like,
good for him.
yeah, he's got like a massive LA mansion with a bunch of like cool car collection. And he gets like these insane supercars and then does them bright pink. Like he just
That's
goes and
cool.
just like hot pink stuff on these
Yeah,
crazy cool cars. But anyways, back to Katy Perry.
yeah,
I was so like I went and watched her. She was like one of the last bands of the night. And
yep.
so I wandered over and I was at this time we're how old? 2007. So we're
17, 16.
16. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of upset because she was up there and just like cussing, going like hard in the paint and stuff. And there was a bunch of like 12-year-old girls all standing around and stuff like that. And I was like,
She's always been like that though.
I
Wasn't there a
know.
rumor that she like sold
And I
her
mean,
soul to the devil or something to get?
they've all sold their soul to the devil. Like,
Okay, sure.
but I mean, yeah,
This isn't like death metal, you know.
I
But
know. Like, here's the irony of that statement and me making that is I just went through a day of Warp Tour where there was a crazy language going on, right?
right, and
But
we were like fighting people, not like literally, but like metaphorically in the pit, right?
exactly. So
And
for
you're
me to
worried
like,
about some pop star up there cursing in front of a bunch of
well,
girls,
especially too, like the song that brought her there was "I Kissed a Girl." Like, what did I expect, right? But it was one of those
True.
things. I've got two little sisters. I'm like, if my sister was here, I wouldn't want them listening to this kind of thing. So
That's honor, I guess, Trevor. Honorable. I don't
maybe. I
know.
also was the person who was like, "You're getting in my car, and I'm putting on whatever music I want, and you
Right.
will like it." So
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll take some videos of it or whatever. They're playing in like the big stadium in Vegas, so
nice.
yeah, it'll be cool. I guess I don't know.
Are you a fan of Vegas in general?
Nah, I hate Vegas.
Okay, we're on the same page there.
The only
It's
reason for
disgusting.
Vegas is because there's deep dish pizza there. That's the only reason why it's bearable now is because Giordano's has a restaurant there.
Yeah,
Everything else sucks.
me and my wife went there for a trip one time because we got dirt cheap hotel like you can in Vegas and things
Yeah.
like that. And so we went, we did it, and we left there. We were just like, we're not going back. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they're sending out like a bunch of warnings right now saying that like a whole bunch of hotels are like infested with bed bugs.
I saw that.
And yeah, so I'm just like, here we go.
There was like a list of like 10 of them, and they were like the top 10
Yeah.
hotels.
No, it's like on the strip, like big, like I think
Yeah.
MGM is having issues with it. Luckily, the hotel that I'm staying at isn't on that list, but it's like it gets if one of those hotels and we're in a big conference room together, like it's gonna spread, you know. So I'm gonna wear like latex. It's like a latex bodysuit everywhere I go. That's what I'm gonna sleep in.
Oh,
You're gonna hear
man.
me coming because you're gonna be hearing the sound of latex.
It's like
and-
squeaking as everyone's
Yeah.
moving.
Oh, there's Kyle. He's coming down. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I mean, at least you don't have hair, right? So you don't have to worry about like lice or
Lice
something
or-
like
yeah.
jumping over to you.
I might get it in my beard, and then I gotta shave that, and then I look like a 4-year-old. It's like one of those where you look at me, and you're like, is he 4 or is he 40? You can't
Dude,
tell when I
I
shave.
literally use my beard to shape some sort of chin because I shave it off. I look like Beaker from the Muppets.
Yeah. If I had hair on my head, I probably wouldn't have a beard.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. They're annoying. They're scratchy, and I've had beards where they get really long, and then I'm laying down on a pillow and I wake up because like the beard hair is tickling my ear. Like there's
I've
just
done
so
that
many.
too. I
Yeah,
don't know.
they're annoying. They're
I
annoying.
like having a longer beard. My wife doesn't like me to have it too long, so I keep it pretty trimmed up. But
Yeah.
I've probably had a beard the last 12 years of my life, something like that.
Yeah, since
So-
I finally accepted I was balding, I started growing
You
the
just
beard
took
out.
it.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
I always joke that like it was harder for me to accept that I was balding than it was hearing that my parents were getting divorced.
Oh. I'm no comment. Like,
dude.
I don't know what to say.
It's
to
rough.
that.
It's rough. And
So-
all these guys got to go through it, and I feel them. I feel their
That's
pain.
hilarious.
It's hard to accept.
So we were just talking about Katy Perry and selling her soul. Who was that like old guitarist who they like. He used to play blues in the 50s, and they said he sold his soul. What's his name? Do you know who I'm talking about?
No. Was there like a movie about this? I feel like maybe there was a movie about this. Ray
I,
Charles?
no, Robert Robert Johnson. So Robert Johnson was a guy back in like the 50s or 60s who, or maybe even earlier, but he is like, he came out and he was playing blues just different than everyone. And I think he wrote a song saying something about going to the crossroads or something like that. So everyone's like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
yeah, he sold his soul to the devil and that's why he's so good. But also feels like this is the point in time where all of a sudden all the guitar work and all the stuff started to develop and new music started coming out, right? Building off of each other.
Yeah.
So is all music foundationally based upon the devil?
Probably.
Like, is that where we're going with this? Coming
Probably.
back to good old Robert Johnson.
I mean,
All-
every generation looks at their kids and says, "Your music's of the devil."
I know, right? That's what kind
So-
of got me thinking about this. How many times did, well, probably not your mom, but my mom say, "What is this evil music you're listening to?" And I'm sitting there holding a Silverstein album.
Right? It's like you haven't even listened to hardcore yet. You know?
Exactly.
You don't even know.
Let me show you a Cannibal Corpse and then let's talk about
Yeah.
the devil. So
Go to
or
Guam, they spray like animal blood on the crowd and stuff, you know?
exactly
Worried
do
about-
that. Behemoth.
Right? Yeah. No, that's
But
funny. That's a good point.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
It'll be interesting to see like what our kids deal with. I mean, I don't know that I'll ever be like, I mean, I'll be judgy about music because I'm judgy about music today. So like if they listen to just straight garbage music, like, yeah, they're going to hear it, but I'll never, be like, oh, you can't listen to that because it's from the devil, like Bobby
Yeah.
Boucher's mom. Like, I'm not doing that,
Yeah, exactly. I'm on the same page there. I mean, unless it truly is of the devil. If my daughter started to corpse paint it up, like I'm probably saying something about that.
Your daughter's like 10 years old walking in. She's like ready to go to school. She's got white paint on and like an upside down cross on her forehead.
The black wings floating around her eyes. Yeah, exactly.
that
But
would be pretty dang funny.
no, it's funny because we were talking in the last episode just about how we're looking back on music and didn't quite realize the impact that it had on our current scene, on everything going on today. And so it got me thinking of all those foundational things that were leading up to this. And, Robert Johnson was a big piece of that. Robert Johnson moves on to Elvis, right? Elvis is another guy who back in the day was like of the devil. You can't move your pelvis like that. You can't get women all hot for you, right? Like he was of the devil. We move on to Kiss, who's painted up, and Gene Simmons is up there like with his long tongue and they're singing about their love gun, right? Like all this stuff is like very impactful, but it was all so evil. So the question is, which hardcore band or what evil band is the next generation for the next generation?
I don't know, man. I feel like that's hard to say because we've already gone like so far to the extreme that like I don't know where else to go from here. Maybe I don't know if people thought that like back in the day, but I'm just sitting here thinking like I don't know, dude, because I don't know what else can be done. Like you can think of like I watched this video on social media where this guy was like, I'm going to listen to one genre every single day for like a whole year or whatever. And like, he found this genre that was like noise wall or something like that. And it was literally just like static and like weird, like communist over the microphone talking with like static. And I'm just like, like, what is this? And people in the comments are like, well, it's not supposed to be liked. And I'm like, well, no. You make music that's not supposed to be liked? Like, what are you doing?
Supposed to make you think, man.
No,
like,
dude. Yeah. So I'm just, and the point that I'm trying to make is like, I don't know what else can be done. We've already got like Satan death metal. We've already got like really black music. Like where do you go next?
So my question also is like, why does some of this stuff that's so over the top get like glamorized? Like the one that's current that I'm thinking of, and he's not current, but more recent to us, is Gigi Allen. Do you know who Gigi Allen is?
No.
Dude, I would tell you to
Sounds
look
like you're
him
just
up.
making up names now.
I know, but I would tell you to look him up, but don't look him up. Like he's insane. This is a dude who they used to play like it was like punk music, like in that vein. And he used to get up, strip naked on stage, like literally take dukes, like pee, like and like fling it at the crowd and stuff like that.
My gosh.
Like oral sex acts, like all sorts of stuff while they're playing. And just like the most insane thing ever. This man should never be in the spotlight, but he's like someone that people like are like, and it might just be a fascination, but people listen to him and go back and like look at this stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
And there's something, maybe it's just a primal thing in our brain where it's just like, how freaking weird was that?
a primal thing in your brain that makes you want to watch a grown man take a dump on a stage. Like,
Dude, there's a fascination behind it. Like, how did that happen? Like,
yeah.
so it's just like, I don't know, man, but I guess there's a place. No matter what you put out, there's something for everyone.
And that's true. And that's what I'm saying is like, I don't know where you go from here because yeah, everything's been done. I feel like, and that's like a big gripe with music in general right now is it's all starting to just sound the same because I don't know that there's much original anymore. Right. I mean, I listen to punk music and hardcore punk and it's like, you could literally find a band from every decade that sounds the same
That's true.
from like the 80s on, you know?
The good news is we have AI technology that pretty soon you're going to say, create me something unique. And we're going to get some crazy subgenre of something.
Yeah, but there's like
done by a
only,
computer.
I mean, mathematically, and I think we've addressed that I'm not good at math, but mathematically, there's only so many variations of, like, unless you're going to make a longer guitar, I don't even know if that's possible or if that even makes sense musically. I don't know because I'm not a musician either. I pretty much have no talents, but yeah, I don't know. Like, there's only like a certain number, and like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's only certain combinations of chords and things. So it's like, eventually, you're gonna hit where it's all been done, right?
Yeah, you would think so, but then you also find something like Noise Wall, where it's just jumbled mess.
Yeah.
And that's what people are listening to. But like,
I don't know if people are actually listening to this. I just know that this guy like listened to it for a day. You can't listen to that stuff and be normal.
The thing that comes to my mind though is like when we're listening to music that we like are the dissonant chords in like drop dead chords, the chugging, the dun 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 dun, you know, like that's not supposed to sound good. Like a dissonant chords is not supposed to sound good, and yet somehow people put it into music and we like it.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is like statistically, mathematically,
take your statistics and
get logic and math out of here.
Like
you are getting old, man. Now you're starting to like deny science.
Heck yeah, to get deny science.
Yeah. So what? Okay. What else? What else you got today, man? What else you thinking about?
I mean, so the other thing that I was thinking about is, and this was from a text you sent to us yesterday about punk goes reggae.
Okay.
So how do we get people into more extreme bands? And what I started thinking is all music leads back to metal. You can always find a path to metal. So reggae comes out, and there was the reggae version of Fall Out Boy that they covered, right? Sugar, We're Going Down. Okay, so we're going to take a reggae listener, put that on. Next, you're going to go, okay, here's actual Fall Out Boy. And we're going to take them back to their first record, Take This to Your Grave. By the way, do you know who their drummer is? His name's Andy Hurley. He's in a hardcore band called Sect, a vegan straight edge band. Here you go. Yeah. Do you know who Andy Hurley likes? Behemoth. We just took
See-
you from reggae to Behemoth.
So I actually think you have it backwards though, because if you're gonna, I clicked on this dude's link in music because he was playing Hands Down, which is a Dashboard Confessional song, right? I would not have clicked on his link if he wasn't playing a song that I already knew that he had played in the reggae. So I actually think you have it backwards. I think all music leads away from metal because I think you become a fan of it and you learn these songs and or like a heavy music in like adjacencies, right? So like hardcore music or whatever. Because Dashboard Confessional is not a metal band, but like you listen to Fall Out Boy, you like Fall Out Boy, and then you see someone playing a different kind of music that's covering Fall Out Boy, like reggae. Like I know that you would never listen to a reggae song if it wasn't a song that you already knew, right?
Yeah, I mean that's true.
So I think all paths lead away from it.
So does that mean that all metalheads are more open-minded?
Okay. I mean that's a question we can talk about later because I actually don't. They are. I mean I know that there's like gatekeeping in every scene, but I feel like the deeper down the rabbit hole, like the deeper in the hole you get in the metal, the harder it is to come out of it.
Well, I'm
That's
just
all
like
I'm gonna say.
my point behind it is I was thinking about my own story coming up, and we don't have to get into my own story coming up again because we've done that now 4 times. But it's like I did not start in metal. I started somewhere else. I had to grow to metal. Most people cannot initially just listen to metal. You just like put metal on for a normal person and they're like, what is this?
Right.
But you show them a T Swift cover from a metal band and they're like, okay, I can get down to this. And then it turns into, well, now here's their normal music.
Right.
And then here's their disgusting hardcore project that they're doing on the side. And it all links back together.
So it's like maybe it's more of like a parabola, you know, like maybe you're not metal, going closer, full metal, getting old. Your eardrums can't take it anymore. Moving away, and before you know it, you're listening to straight reggae covers like I'm doing. You know, but you do bring up a super interesting point, and I've like thought about this, and it's kept me up at night because my wife is not a huge fan of this music, right?
Right,
and I think that was my problem. I think that I went from 0 to 100 too quick. I showed her a couple of Day to Remember songs and she's like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I like the singing stuff. And then boom, I'm putting on like a Power Trip. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. And so I think I just burned it out like way too quick. I needed to like ease it into it, you know?
And I feel like there's something about metalheads where you can find a way to justify the music no matter what to people, right? And you find a way to know what someone is like thinking to be able to bring something in from metal for them to listen to it.
Right.
Like mine, you know, back in the day, we were really into Christian metal and hardcore and stuff like that. And so I got talking to my wife and she's like, how do you listen to this? It's always screamo emo and stuff like that. I'm like, they're talking about God. What are you talking about? This music is way better than anything that's on the radio. Like, here, let me show you an impending doom.
Yeah, that's yeah, dude. We should have been smarter.
Dude, I got my wife to listen to Impending Doom. Like, that's the thing.
She probably didn't like it.
She put it on in her radio and I wasn't there sometimes.
Oh, so seriously?
I got her to listen to Impending Doom.
It's funny you say that because I remember one time, I can't remember who I was talking to. I think it was my grandma. She was getting mad at me about my grandma was the one that got mad at me about my music. My parents didn't care, but my grandma was always like, you should listen to John Denver.
Sure.
Or do you know who Alfie Boe is?
No.
He's like the original Jean Valjean Broadway singer for Les Mis.
Oh, nice.
My grandma was like obsessed with this guy, right? And so she used to always get super mad at me about my music and stuff. And I went and saw Sleeping Giant in Salt Lake. And it was at a church, and in the basement, they were like reading the Bible with each other.
Right.
And so I was telling my grandma, I was like, no, like I went and saw this cool band. They're called Sleeping Giant. Like we read the Bible together first because they're Christian and stuff. And I was like, just wait. I was like, man, I hope she doesn't ask what happened after. because then it doesn't work, you know. She'd have gotten mad at me and stuff, but I was like, yeah, well, we were. And so then she'd always be like, hey, have you seen Sleeping Giant lately?
Yeah, Grandma, they're
Yeah,
great.
Grandma. Yeah, it was awesome. We read the Bible and then we just beat the absolute crap out of each other after, you know. There was like probably 6 fights or something. But
Exactly.
hey, we read scripture before.
Exactly. And we hugged it out after. Everyone was happy in the end. So.
Yeah. I was on social media and a clip of Confide popped up. Do you remember listening to them?
Yeah.
So they had that original album. I think it's called Shout the Truth.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Shout the Truth. They went back after a few years later because they got a new guy in their band that sings and went and re-recorded it with this guy's vocals. How do you feel about stuff like that? I can't think of many other bands that have necessarily gone back. I know bands have done like re-recordings, like 4 Year Strong re-recorded Enemy of the World. Yeah.
Thrice just put out
Thrice.
The Artist in the Ambulance.
That's right. But have you listened to many that have like gone back and re-recorded and like actually changed things like vocals and stuff like that?
That's probably like the one time that I could recall that it was like a 1 to 2 year apart thing. Like they just like changed vocalists and then went and did it. And the album had already been released. That's what's weird. I mean, you hear times where like people are like, the album's done, and then they're like switching vocalists. And before it releases, they go and retrack it or something. But I don't think there's many examples of an actual album being out and then them just being like, well, we're just going to put this guy on and we're going to re-release it.
Yeah.
So you're right.
I'd be super interested to know why they thought that was a good idea. Because that Shout the Truth album is so freaking good.
Yeah.
And then they ruined it with this guy's vocals.
How mad would you be if you went to buy Shout the Truth and you expected that first one and then also you end up with Joel Piper on there instead?
They don't even have like the original version on streaming services. It's all the re-recorded one.
Yeah, and I know.
I had to go to YouTube to listen to the original version. So I wonder though, and we'll have to look this up. I just didn't know if you knew because I loved this band back in the day. That first album, I can't remember who we saw them with.
We saw Confide a couple of times.
But that first time, I want to say we were at the Avalon.
Everything was at the Avalon.
I know, right? But I bought that cool Shout the Truth shirt. And I just remember thinking they were so freaking cool. And then, they totally ruined that album. And I wondered though if it was because like maybe there was like recording rights that they didn't have. And so they went and re-recorded it. Like what Taylor Swift is doing with all of her albums.
We'd have to look up some of that stuff, but my guess is no. My guess is there was probably something that happened with the previous drummer because Joel Piper's the drummer too.
Oh, he is?
And they probably wanted to just cut ties. And maybe Joel Piper was like, guys, we could do this better. And it's like, let's just go do it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I do think that he fundamentally ruined that band because the next album wasn't very good.
Exactly.
Because Shout the Truth was awesome. But so how do you feel about stuff like that though? Do you like it when bands, because I know we talked about Thrice and 4 Year Strong. Do you like that? Are you okay with it? Do you feel like you should just leave it alone?
The Thrice one I really liked. I thought they did a great job with it. I feel like they didn't stray too far from the original. The 4 Year Strong one, I love Enemy of the World. It's like one of my favorite albums. And that re-recording, whatever they did, is so bad.
Yeah.
And like, I can't pick out exactly why I dislike it so much, but just whatever they did recording wise just sounds so bad. And so like, I'm really disappointed in that. I'm fine with re-releases, like 10 years and stuff like that. And I think it's kind of cool when they actually like will put their new vocals on. Like I really liked The Artist in the Ambulance because Dustin just, we've talked about this. He sounds so rich these days that it was just a new like level to that album for me. It has to be done right.
Yeah.
Don't re-record just to re-record.
Yeah, I don't. Outside of the Thrice one, I can't think of very many. Even then, though, I'm pretty against this stuff. Even then, with Thrice, I'd rather just listen to the original Artist in the Ambulance. Because to me, like you get to a certain point. I mean, they're on what their 20-year anniversary of Artist in the Ambulance. Isn't that the tour they're on? At this point, it's like it's history. Artist in the Ambulance is a genre defining. We talked about this a ton. Is a genre defining album.
Sure.
Leave it alone.
So my
It's a
question
piece of
though,
art.
my question for that though then is, what if, because this is a little bit of a money grab, right? It's
Probably.
like it's the old people who want to buy this album again because it's the 20-year anniversary. It's a little bit of a money grab. Are you okay with them literally just taking the old album, slapping on a new album art or something like that, and just selling it as the 20-year, as the original version?
Yeah, that's fine.
Would you pay for that?
No, because I'd stream stuff anyways. I'd buy a
So,
vinyl. Now that's one thing that I'm cool with coming back is okay, re-release it on vinyl.
and that's what I bought it on.
Yeah, that's sick. Okay, I'm cool with that. And I would probably do that, especially because like if you own the original vinyl of Artist in the Ambulance and then you had the 20-year, it's like we had a friend that his dad had the like 67 Shelby Mustang and then he also had the like 2007 Shelby
Seven,
Mustang.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that's dope. And I would do that with vinyl. But don't try and re-record it and spruce it up. Leave it alone. This is at this point it's art. Like
Yeah, see, and
you see
that's
the
where I disagree. I'm like, I do like, the thing is, and again, they kept it close enough. It wasn't like a reimagination of it. It like literally, it just feels like they more or less just did Dustin's vocals.
okay.
I'm sure there's a will of the things here
So
and there.
how would you feel if somebody was like, "Hey, we're gonna repaint the Sistine Chapel. Some 20-year-old's gonna do it."
Come on, man.
I mean, that's what we're talking about.
No, we're not.
Maybe
We're not
on the
talking
same
about
scale,
that
dude.
at
It's
all.
art. It's freaking art. Leave it alone. We're not just talking about the music anymore. Like this is a piece of history. Leave it alone.
But that's the thing. They aren't replacing what they already did. They're just re-recording. It's something in addition to it. So if
Not all the time because
you're using
Before You're
that
Strong-
logic, you got to go. They had to rebuild an entire Sistine Chapel next to it, and then someone goes and paints inside. But you know it's not the original
Okay.
Sistine Chapel.
if you go to 4 Year Strong on like Spotify or Apple, you can't find the original version of Enemy of the World.
Yes, you can. I was listening to it this week.
I'm literally on their Apple one.
Well,
and it's
Apple
not on
sucks. This is
Uh,
what I've been
there.
telling you,
Okay.
bro.
Let me look at Spotify. Because then, okay, then maybe my whole argument is wrong and my whole life is meaningless. All right. Let me find Spotify because I want to freaking look at this and tell you.
I promise you, man. I was listening to it this week. I listened to
Okay,
that
it's on
album
there.
quite a bit.
So it's
Yeah.
just Apple then. Fine. Or I don't know why they would do that. See, they have so they have Enemy of the World Special Edition and the original Enemy of the World, and then they have the 2022 re-recorded. I'm okay with that. If you leave
Yeah.
the original on where I can choose, but maybe my biggest gripe was because Apple Music only had the re-recorded.
Okay, and I would be in your exact same boat then if that was the case. If I couldn't listen to the album that I wanted to, then I'd be upset.
Yeah, because then I'm
But-
starting to feel like it's confide here, and it's like I don't want to
Yeah.
listen to the crappy re-recording. Give me
Yeah.
the original.
No, I'm good with that. Like, I understand where you're coming from now because I would be upset about that too. So
Yeah.
I get that for sure.
So yeah, what else? What else you got?
You know, I think we've talked about kind of most of what I got. You have an interesting question posted up here.
Yeah,
Tell me
I do
about
have one.
Incubus.
I do have one more question for you then. So I read online that the guitarist from Incubus is launching an anti-aging biotech company.
Okay.
So that seems super random and like not connected at all. And I guess this company, they've hired like real scientists. It's not just like Joe Schmo from down the road. It's like actual scientists with real degrees is working for the guitarist of Incubus to stop aging. So my questions to you is one, how do you feel about stuff like that? Like those guys getting into weird businesses, and what's the weirdest business that a hardcore or metalhead could start that you're just like, that doesn't make sense at all?
So the first question I would have is, what is the Incubus guitarist background? Because like you hear about kind of some of the weird stuff, like, is it the Offspring, the dude who has the PhD and stuff like that? There's like,
There's
a
a,
couple-
I feel like, yeah, there's a bunch of them that have that. Now, in the same vein, I know that the singer of The Offspring has a hot sauce that he sells called Gringo Bandito. And it's actually super.
We just went from PhDs and anti-aging to a hot sauce. Like,
Yeah, dude. Hey, man, I've had some hot sauce that age me like 10 years every time I eat them.
so
But
then, so you go to this guy, you get aged, and then you go to Incubus and you get anti-aging.
And I get anti-age.
Perfect
yeah.
combo.
And I hope that the anti-aging works on my intestines too, because some of that hot sauce, man. Whew. But yeah, I was just trying to make a point that it seems more appropriate that the singer of The Offspring would start a business selling hot sauce than a guitarist from a 90s rock grunge band would start an anti-aging company with actual scientists.
Well, and then you have like, I mean, I think the first case you can think about something like this is Brian May from Queen. He's like an astrophysicist or something like that. Like
really?
Brian May is like insanely smart. Like straight up has like written papers and stuff in his field of study, and then he's going and playing Queen music.
Queen.
Like,
that's cool.
Yeah,
like, I don't have a problem. Like if you're like, because obviously like you can like more than one thing, so I don't expect these guys to like only ever think about music and stuff, right? So
yeah,
like,
but no, I see what you're saying. But my whole thing is like, where did these guys like find the time? And also like to have that passion to like be in a very successful band that you're living off of, to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go do an anti-aging company. Like that's pretty insane.
I mean, I don't know that they're like making new music and stuff right now. If they play, they're just playing old stuff. So I guess it does open up time to like find other hobbies. Like
sure, but I mean, if they want to go make their $1 million or $2 million a year for every band member, they still have to go tour 5-6 months out of the year, kind of thing. But no, and back to your question, what random businesses could they start? So this got me thinking about the stupid OnlyFans stuff that we are seeing these days. Because like I have seen so many like clips of people doing like weird things that people request. Like I saw something of like a girl who you have to pay her for the number of days she wears a pair of socks, and then she sends you those socks for the weirdos who are doing that.
I mean, look, man, we're going down a real weird rabbit hole right here.
Do you
remember? And I'm going to tell one thing about it, and then we'll get back to the topic. Because I feel like, did you hear about the girl that like sold her bathwater and then gave a whole bunch of guys herpes?
No, that's what I'm saying. There's bathwater. There's the fart in a jar kind of thing.
Yeah, like, holy cow. I
mean, all that stuff.
We were just talking. This is a weird pod because we were just talking about a guy taking a dump on stage, and he's missing out because he could be making millions.
I was literally just going to say that. I was going to say, dude, he takes a Duke on the stage, he throws it on some t-shirts, and that's his business model. You have a Gigi Allen poop shirt. Well, there you go.
It's too early for this. Anyways, yeah, before the streaming services come in and kick us off, I was thinking like, yeah, I mean, we talked about Corpse Grinder taking plushies to like children's hospitals.
Oh, that'd be sick.
But like,
there we go.
Thinking of some of the worst, like having a hardcore guy be like run, I don't know, maybe be like a therapist might not be the healthiest. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to think of like businesses that you're just like, no, that doesn't fit.
All right, here we go.
What does fit?
So, business model for Corpse Grinder. You make claw machines in the shape of meat grinders with intestinal plushies.
You could like, go to like a haunted house, and it's like to get to the next room, you have to
grab
the intestines from
get something.
Machine. Yeah,
you've got people trying to kill you.
That's good. That's a good idea.
There we go.
So what do you think? Like, what do you think? Some of the, I mean, obviously, a lot of the music stuff would be pretty successful, but like, I don't know, like a hardcore kid starting a karate dojo. Because that's like half of what you do in the pit.
Dude, that just takes me back to Day to Remember's video with Ron Jeremy, where he's teaching people how to dance.
Yeah.
Like, there you go. Yeah. Let's teach people how to pick up the change. Let's teach people how to two-step and stuff like that. Like,
it'd be pretty funny if it was like Incubus anti-aging company sponsored by Mick Jagger. Because he's like 90 years old. He's like, I don't want to die yet.
He's
still got time. He's
Mick
up there
Jagger's
trying to
still
move.
killing it.
I know.
So
Yeah. If you guys can think of any cool businesses for hardcore guys, let us know.
dude, I'm on this karate dojo thing for dancing. You have 5 lessons, and at the end of the show, there's a hardcore show, and you have to take everything you learned, and you have to.
You like, yeah, dude, you can't get in. It's like bands are like, you can't get in unless you're a blue belt or higher.
Yeah, and the way to progress to the next belt is you have to pile on and be able to grab the mic from the vocalist.
Yeah. Everyone's like fighting you away from it. Dude,
Exactly.
okay, look, man, like I'm not in a crew, but if I was in a crew, could you imagine rolling up to a show with like the karate, what do they call it? Like the karate shirt, you
The
know?
karate
Like,
gi.
yeah, the gi with like your crew name on the back of it, dude. I'd be like, yeah, those guys are tough.
They've got black belts and they're like stitched into the back is just 3 X's.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Like you can get like I used to do martial arts. Well, I used to do taekwondo because I don't know why my mom thought it was a good idea, but you get like belts and they have like lines on the belt sometimes. So it's like you just like stitch in like X's. It's like
X's across.
Yeah, it's like how straight edge are you? That's how many X's are in your belt.
I'm sending this idea to No Cure, man. No Cure is out there promoting this like hard right now.
Look, when we get into making merch, which hopefully is coming soon, we'll make a karate gi.
Karate gi.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about like the black belts. You could do blue, black. Yeah, I don't know all the colors, brown, yellow, all of that stuff, and just stitch the X's in.
Yeah,
whatever you are. So
yeah, you can't like. It's like certain shows require a certain level of. You can't compete in the pit unless you're like.
Yeah,
you know,
this is black belt and up. That's it.
And then when you've been around the scene for like 30 years, you finally get handed the black belt. You know.
Yeah, but then what happens when that yellow belt little crazy kid comes in and kicks everyone's butt?
I mean,
you just throw them out and beat them up outside.
Probably. Then the real karate kicks in. No. It's a good idea, man.
Dude, we got this.
I'm gonna start coming up with designs now. So
Incubus, you got anti-aging. We're doing karate gis.
You tell us which one is more significant in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So cool, man. Well, be safe in your travels. Bring back some Katy Perry cupcake bras for us.
I'll wear it on the next episode.
I'm down. All right, man. Have a good day.
Okay, you
Peace.
too. See ya.